Welcome to our Culture to the World. Come with me and meet new people and learn from their experiences in this episode of our Culture to the World. My guest today is Miyabi Ozawa. Miyabi, please tell us some more about you. I know that you're an assistant professor of Japanese at Clemson University, but what else can you tell our viewers?
Hi, I'm Miyabi. I am originally from Japan, like Tokyo, Japan. I've been in the United States for I think 7 years. Yeah. So, and this is so currently I live in like South Carolina, but this is the third state that I've lived in the United States. Previously, I lived in Wisconsin and Colorado, and also Washington too. Yeah. So thank you for having
Okay.
me.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. It's a pleasure to have you. And now, I'm assuming that you came to United States as a student. Is that correct?
Yes.
Right. So, what are some things that you knew about the US before coming, and what were your first impressions when you got here?
So the reason why I came here for the first time is to earn master degree in linguistics.
Mhm.
Um, because well, I was a linguistic student in Japan, but I was told by a professor that the American university have a variety of great linguistic programs. So one of my kind of impression or image about United States is to be able to provide like a great resources or educational, opportunities for students. And then I knew a lot of like professors in my field who works in u American universities. I think one of the biggest impression of the United States is about the education, the quality of
Okay.
education, I think.
Okay. Yes, of course,
Mhm.
of course. And now, when you actually got here, because sometimes, we hear about a place, we have ideas, but then when we
Mm.
actually get into the place, things, sometimes you get a culture shock. Was there any culture shock for you when you got to the US?
So actually, when I first landed in this country, that was in Ohio, because I was a Fulbright scholar, and I had the opportunity to brush up my English before
Mhm.
actually going into the master's program.
Mhm.
So, I was in Ohio, like Ohio University at the time.
Right.
And then yeah, probably the biggest culture shock is that there's how can I say, like it's I'm co coming from Tokyo, like there are few opportunities for students to hang out or go like there are several restaurants around there, and of course shops, but it's quite limited. And then we were the international scholars of I think 30, a group of 30 people, I think, and then coming from a lot of different countries. But we were kind of surprised that there's nothing quite there are no like stores around the campus. Like you have to go by your car. There's no public transportation around that campus. So like actually one of the several instructors help us to go to the store, like Walmart, for example, like to get a cell phones or like a SIM card or like groceries and stuff like that because we of course do not have did not have
Right.
car.
And
You
this
know.
was Ohio University in Athens, Ohio, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. I mean, yeah, of course the campus was beautiful and the great nature and I really
Mhm.
appreciate it. But it was really different from like Tokyo, of course.
Right, right, right.
Yeah,
Yes,
that was
it's
the biggest
small,
help.
small, small area as against big city, right? Big busy city.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Right. Um, so, okay, so that was just like your little introduction, and then you moved on to other places. But how has it been for you? I mean, you've been here 7 years, but how has it been for you adapting to a culture that, was strange, foreign in some way?
Mhm.
to you? How has adapting been for you?
I mean, honestly, I don't have like specific idea of how I actually cope up with it, but probably the time just solves the problem. Like as I think as I spend time, I kind of naturally kind of adapt to the environment, I guess.
Okay. And for instance, as I'm talking to you, are there ways of, let's say, ways of just communicating or treating people or dealing with maybe even greeting that you have have are different from what you're used to, and um have you had to kind of have a kind of mental shift based
Mm,
on those, and maybe
I see, I
explain if
see.
so?
Well, actually, I had experience of studying abroad when I was a high school student. I went to Switzerland before, and I went to the like, a summer camp where I used English mostly, I think. So I kind of know the ways how people communicate in English or like in Western countries. Um,
Right.
but yeah, and then. Well, when I came here, like United States, luckily I didn't really have a problem of, communicating with people around me, especially because I was in a department of linguistics.
Right.
So, like my friends, like the students and the professors in the departments were like genuinely interested in like different languages and cultures. So, like they asked me questions about Japan, Japanese language, etc. And so, luckily, I didn't really have any issues. I mean, of course, I had a, language barrier, but these people are really kind in general. They always try to understand me, although I wasn't able to, speak English,
Right.
very fluently. Yeah, so that
Right.
was really, yeah.
And of course, you have definitely, as time goes on, you work, you keep practicing, you use the language more, you improve. So,
Mm,
but talking about culture,
hmm
something I have noticed, and maybe you could expand on that a little bit, is because I've worked with Japanese colleagues like you
hmm
and others, and that Japanese, I noticed there's always, especially when there's a little, you give a little bow when
mm.
you're greeting someone. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. I think like a bow, doing a
Yeah.
bow is
So, yeah.
primarily um like ways to greet somebody in Japanese culture. It's like the bow can be like a small bow like this, or like can be a deep one,
Mm-hmm.
depending on the level of formalities or depending on the relationship with, the person who you are interacting with.
Hmm.
But so when you do bow in Japanese culture, like you can also like simultaneously say something to greet, or you can just do a bow like without saying anything. Um, but like in casual conversation or like with friends, you don't usually do bow. You can just say
Okay.
hi. Yeah. So.
Oh, okay. So the let's say the slide bow would be for whom?
Maybe like kind of like people who are not your friends, but probably close enough. Like for
Okay.
example, I bow a little bit to Kumi, like who is my
Right. Colleague.
supervisor. Yeah,
Right.
colleague. Yeah,
Supervisor,
like
colleague,
yeah,
supervisor.
yeah. We're not
Mm.
friends, so
Right, right, right.
but we are close enough to do
Mm.
that. Like light bow. Yeah.
And then
Versus like
the
yeah,
deeper bow would be for whom?
Deepaba would be probably for like a job interview or to interact with like outside people like when you prob for example when you work in a Japanese company and then when you interact with somebody outside of your company and doing a business talk, then probably like, you have to
Right. Okay. So like
deep bow.
outside authority figures. But the,
Or
yeah.
oh yeah, of course. And also, you take a deep bow when you have to apologize, I think.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay. Very good, very good. Interesting to know. Um, so, do you know, I don't know if you can tell us, but do you know if Americans tend to have any stereotypical ideas or views of Japanese? Do you?
Maybe like in terms of like a Japanese culture, like a lot of ja American people have a positive,
Mhm,
images of Japanese, such as, great like traditional Japanese foods such as like sushi tempura, like those are popular in the United States too. Or they also kind of think maybe like some people may think that Japanese people are polite in general,
mhm,
and also quiet compared to them.
mhm,
Maybe I mean that it really depends on the people, of course. But yeah.
mhm. But would you say that yes, Japanese people are quiet and compared to Americans or not?
It really depends, I think.
Right,
But like
on the
in
person.
general, yeah, in general, I think people in Japan are quieter or probably shy,
Mhm,
probably. I mean, compared to American people in
mhm.
general.
I know one
Mm.
of the things you told me earlier was, your impressions of the educational system as a graduate student. And but what are there some other things, apart from education, that you appreciate about Americans and their culture?
Probably like the openness or friendliness of the people, I guess. Um, because like in Japan, as I mentioned, like Japanese people tend to be shy. I mean, compared to American people, many of them are friendly, but probably not that friendly
Mhm,
compared to American people. So that's one thing. And the other thing is that as I mentioned, like um, people are probably culture. Like American culture is probably more kind of open to
mhm,
many people and many things. Like I feel like American culture allows diversity in general, in many sense, like compared to the
mhm,
Japanese society, because Japanese society is pretty much homogenic. Like
mhm,
Japanese people wants to kind of follow the rule. They want to be the same or similar to other people in general in order not to, deviate from the
mhm,
kind of expected
mhm.
rules or
Norms,
culture.
yes.
Yeah, norms,
Hmm.
exactly. Yeah.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
that's something that I appreciate in America.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Having been here for 7 years, have
Hmm.
you had what are some opportunities that you have had to share
Hmm.
something relating to Japanese culture with people that you've interacted with here?
Well, I mean, I've been, teaching Japanese in Japanese classes and also linguistics too.
Mhm,
So, in the classroom, a lot of times I talk about culture, like Japanese culture in general, like
mhm.
about like a bow, for example, which I
Right.
talked previously, or like the politeness of
Mhm,
Japanese, like in Japanese culture, like or Japanese language, like we distinguish the language used depending on who you are talking to,
mhm.
um, to show respect. So
Right.
that's one thing. Or hmm. Yeah, like several like ideologies, things like how Japanese culture is homogeneous,
Mhm,
like in general, but like how it's now changing, like
mhm.
as the country and the world becomes, globalized
Right.
more.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm. Yes.
Yeah, I think so. I also actually advise a Japanese cultural association in Clemson University. So we have several events like events about food, like Japanese like choreographies, th those type of event where students can learn about the Japanese culture. So but that's
Okay.
probably one of the examples.
Okay, yeah, that's nice. That's nice. And
Mhm.
it'd be nice if has that association been able to
Mhm.
like share maybe some of the things you do
Mhm.
outside of the group. It would be nice if it could be, some of those things could be
Mhm.
shared to outside of just that group. That would be
Mhm.
yeah. Mm. S- So, what is, you talked about food a little bit, you mentioned food just now. What is Japan's national dish? Is there a national dish? And if so, what is it? Uh-huh.
I think there are a lot of national dishes in
Oh,
Japanese culture, like sushi, of course,
mhm,
like a tempura, um, like a miso soup. A
mhm,
lot of a lot of them, yeah.
mhm.
I
Oh,
don't think I can list everything because there are just too
okay.
much.
Oh, so you right. So it's
Yeah.
not just one. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Um, and is there any one that it's your favorite?
It's actually a really difficult question for me to answer because I love everything in general.
Okay.
But I
Okay.
definitely like sushi. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
Do you actually prepare it yourself?
Not usually.
Oh, okay, okay. Well, so Miyabi, sushi, sushi seems to be very popular in the US, but is it the same that like you have here, or is there any difference? Could you tell us?
So I think sushi, sushi, that exists
Hmm.
in the American culture, is not necessarily the same as the Japanese sushi,
Okay.
because like for example, the California roll or that kind of roll, is the one that have rice outside of the ingredients, but in Japanese sushi, it is the opposite. Usually, like the roll is when you order a roll, like in Japanese sushi restaurant, the what is outside of all the ingredients is the seaweed, not the rice.
Oh,
And
oh,
there's
okay.
no like a sauce attached to the sushi. Like in Japanese sushi, like we just put soy sauce and
Okay.
wasabi. Well, we
Mm-hmm.
don't use like a sauce, like a spicy sauce or like a sweet sauce that are available in the United States. Um,
Okay.
so those are the
Right.
different.
Yes. And that's interesting because I mean we always hear about that sometimes when the food when it crosses the ocean, the
Mm-hmm,
versions like even the versions of the food that we have
mm-hmm,
in let's say here in this country,
mm-hmm.
they're not this exact thing that exists
Yeah,
in the source
yeah,
country.
exactly. May I actually add one more thing?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So that actually reminds me of matcha. Do you know matcha? I think, right?
Yes,
Matcha.
yeah, matcha, yes.
Has been really popular in the United States for I think like several years. But matcha of course is coming from Japan, or pro originally in I think China maybe. But like a Japanese matcha is different from American matcha too, because
Okay.
like when it comes to matcha in I think America, like people probably imagine like a matcha drink with like really sweet, taste. But when it comes to matcha in Japan, like you just pour the hot water to the like a matcha powder and then mix it. So it's not sweet at all. It's
Oh,
really actually
oh,
yeah,
okay, it's bitter.
bitter. Maybe bitter is a word. Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, okay. Well, that's interesting. What about miso soup? Tell us about, I don't know too much about miso soup. What is miso soup? What kind of
Oh,
soup is that?
do you know miso?
Not really.
Miso is made from like soybeans, like fermented soybeans. And so miso soup is a soup with miso, and then you can put a lot of ingredients, like a lot of vegetables, any types of vegetables, I think in general, or seaweed,
Uh-huh.
tofu, sometimes, sometimes like fish or yeah, like a meat. Yeah, sometimes, yeah. Usually,
Okay.
like miso soup is coming with a rice.
Oh,
And
okay.
then
You eat it with that.
those are the kind of side dishes for like a main dish.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, Now, what are there any lessons that you have learned from living abroad that you would like to share?
Well, actually, so my experience of living in the United States actually differs, like in South Carolina, in Colorado, in Washington,
Mm.
in Wisconsin, like all these, states are different, of course. So
Right.
my living and lifestyles are quite different in these states. But one thing I can talk about, like in terms of the living in the South Carolina, is that like I definitely need a car, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Like in Tokyo, back in Tokyo, I didn't need a car because there's a
Mm-hmm.
public transportation, but to go anywhere. But
Mm-hmm.
South Carolina, like you have to have a car to even go to a university, or to do a grocery shopping, to meet with friends. So that's the big thing. So you have to be able to adjust the lifestyle,
Right. Right. Right.
including, transportation systems. Um, for for Wisconsin, it's really cold in winter. So you have to be able to adjust that too.
Mm-hmm.
You have to wear like a really thick coat. Usually it's better to buy it in North America, or like the places where which is really cold in winter because they have a nice coats usually. Yeah. Colorado was really dry. So like you have to be really careful about being hydrated all the time. So
Oh.
I used to have a really big bottle all the time with the
Mm-hmm.
water, plenty of water. Yeah, Washington State is really great. I mean because it's quite similar to Japan because it's the
Oh.
West Coast. There are a lot of like Asian restaurants or shops
Mm-hmm.
available. Um, but the price is really expensive, so you have to be really careful. You probably like it's three times more expensive than like Tokyo, I think,
Oh,
in general.
wow.
Food, apartment, and everything, I think.
Oh,
So,
okay.
so different, I think different adjustment is needed depending on where
Right,
you,
depending on where
I
you
guess.
are, where you end up,
Yeah,
where you are.
I
Mm-hmm,
guess.
mm-hmm, hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. So, um, Miyabi, I really enjoyed chatting with you a little bit, getting to know a little bit about you and your journey. So tell us before you go, Miyabi, what would you say about the importance of learning about other people and their cultures?
Mm. It's a really big and difficult question, but of course a good question. Um, I mean, I always think that like we cannot live by ourselves to like of course like we have to help. We have to help other people and also we have to be helped. Like because no one can live by themselves.
Right?
So, and then we're different. Like even in Japan, like even though I said like people in Japan are homogeneous, like in general, like they are different. Like people, each person is different, of course, even in
Mhm.
the same country. So in that sense, learning others or learning other ways of thinking or learning other cultures are quite important in order to, communicate, like by understanding them.
So thanks so much for making the time. And to our um to our viewers, thank you so much for watching. And we're gonna see you soon as we meet more people and continue to learn from their experiences and learn about cultures around the world in our next episode of our Culture to the World. And let's say thanks to Miyabi.
Thank you.
You're welcome.